This is a condensed tune session for What Child Is This? So we're going to do all the prep today and then learn the tune in 4 pieces throughout the rest of the week. This tune is in the key of E minor. Every minor key comes from its relative major. Relative just means that it has all the same notes in it. So inverse of that is true. Every major key also has its relative minor. So I'm bringing that up because E minor is relative to G major, and G major is one of the most common keys on the violin that we practice a lot. So G major is where, if we start on the G string, we have normal finger position on G and D, and then 1 and 3 fingers stay in the same normal positions as we go up, but second finger goes to a low 2 on A and a low 2 on E. To get to the relative minor of E minor, we're just going to start on the E note, which is the first finger on the D string, and then we're going to play those finger positions that we just are kind of keeping in the back of our mind from G major. So we've got a high 2 till we get on the A string, and then we have a low 2, and then we'll finish off on the open E. Here's what that actually sounds like. I'm going to go ahead and do the prep today with the clothespin on, since we're doing green sleeves, or What Child Is This, with the sort of medieval clothespin sound. So I started on 1D, which is our E note, since it's an E scale. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, open A, 1, low 2, 3, open E. Hear that as one more time. Yeah, it lands in this kind of awkward spot. Since it's an E, we start on 1D and end on the open E instead of a nice, organized open string like a lot of the major keys that are common on violin. Let's try that one more time, just 4 notes at a time, so you can kind of zero in a little bit on getting that intonation dialed in. So starting on 1D, we're going to go 2, 3 on D, and then to open A. Yep, and then onward, starting on 1A, we're going to switch that 2 down to a low. Nice. Now I also wanted to prep a heads up on a couple of accidentals. Accidentals is the word for when there's going to be a note in the song that's not in the key. So we're going to have a sharp or flat that changes us out of our home finger position. One of the ones that happens a lot is the E flat. So our first finger is going to have to not only play the 1D, but the low 1D. So let's start off with a little drill here where we just play exactly those 2 notes. 1D down to low 1D, and then back. It's like this. What I'm doing is I'm actually keeping my finger down. I'm keeping the note pressed down and sliding, but the slide happens when the bow is stopped. So we play. And then you can smooth that out where that slide kind of secretly happens right while the bow is changing directions, even though the bow doesn't as obviously stop. Yeah, I'll let you press pause here to play with this and know that it's okay if you hear the slide a little bit. It'll sound like a cool ornament. That's me just being a little bit less sneaky about it. Here's one more demo of me being quite sneaky, but you can see my finger stays down. Okay, give that a try. Okay, now a second little exercise that we're going to do around this accidental is an arpeggio, which is a pattern of 3 notes, and it's going to be 2D to low 1D to 2G, like this. 2D, which if we were in normal finger position looks like this, but then that first finger is gonna pull back. So you're gonna have a bigger space there. It's gonna make that second finger wanna go flat. Don't let it happen. So we're gonna go 2D, low 1D, 2G. And also be careful when you come down to this G not to reach out and make it go sharp. So. Nice. The second finger on the G that we just played is the B note. We didn't practice that one in the scale because we just did the one octave here starting on this D and we didn't mess around with these lower notes. So this is our chance to drill one of these lower notes on the G string that we're going to be using, which is the B note. That's the same as the first, it's an octave lower than the first finger A string that we did practice. Let's hit that arpeggio one more time. I'm using quite a bit of bend in my first finger here to get that low 1D, that E flat note, because then that helps keep the rest of my hand in tune instead of moving the whole hand back and having everything really have to reach. Okay, now the last exercise that we have today is going to add in another accidental that's going to be thrown at us in this tune, and that is going to be the C sharp on the G string. So remember how I just said that the 2G is the B, 3G would be a C natural, which is on our key, but it's never going to use the C natural down here on the G string. It's just going to use the C sharp. It is going to use, side note, really quick, this tune is going to use the C natural and the C sharp on the A string, just a heads up. We're not going to prep that today because that's not as weird to the hand. But down here, we're just going to be going, or we're just going to be using this high 3. It doesn't do it often, just a couple times, but it's going to be a great big stretch because the high 3 is going to be right after the low 1D. And it's going to be a series of 4 notes that sounds like this. Let me just play it for you before I get too theoretical about it for too long. Those 4 notes were low 1D, high 3G, low 1D, 1D. It sounds like this. Yeah, if that feels like a huge stretch, it's because it is. So check your posture, really roll everything out. Make sure the shoulders are open so that the elbow can swing forward, and that's what's going to help your arm be able to get into the position that your fingers are stretching more this way and less this way. Here it is one more time. Great, so that's an E minor scale and 3 prep exercises. Repeat those as many times as you feel like today, maybe for another few more minutes, and get some good sleep on it. That's going to prep you really well for our tune that's coming in tomorrow.